Hi, I'm Christina from Brooklyn Dreams and welcome to a new video. So as you can see from the title, I will be talking about my Orilium journey of this year. So since I've been still trying to kind of put my reading in order and find some sense to the whole chaos of, living with a baby and everything. I kind of cheated a bit on Orilium in the beginning, in the spring equinox part of it. And I kind of counted books that I actually read throughout the first part of the year for it. However, I'm very proud to say that in August I managed to actually put everything in order, choose books that I could actually read, like that were like volume wise good for kind of finishing it in August, and I did it with just 3 days behind. Like I finished it on September 3rd, so I'm really proud of myself for that. And now let's just get into the books. So I choose my profession to be abjure because it basically had the least books to read, because when the whole thing started I was already pregnant and I knew that I would have to choose something light for like this period of my life. Maybe in the future I'll choose another profession and kind of go with that, but for now we're an abjurer. And in the spring equinox I was supposed to read 3 books. The first one was for inscription, a book from my top or high shelf. I did not take it down from my top high shelf, but literally anything I read by Ilona Andrus this year is sitting on my top shelf. So basically all of that goes for that. Then a target length of 389 to 415 pages for spells and incantations is another Ilona Andrus, that is Emerald Blaze from the Hidden Legacy series, and I will put a link to my wrap-up of the entire series somewhere up there, and it will definitely be in the description down below. And finally, for conjuration, I needed to read a book recommended by a friend, so I read Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. So the Ilona Andrus books I absolutely adore. They were reread. They're the story of Nevada Baylor and the Baylor family, who own an investigative agency in this world where magic exists, and basically each of the 3 sisters, Nevada, Catalina, and oh my god, what's the last name? I can't remember the name of the last sister. Gosh, that's really bad for me, but each of them has like a secret power that they use in this world that helps them in their investigative tasks. And they have like this gorgeous family. There's a mom, there's Grandma Frida, there are cousins, there are friends outside the family, even their employers, and like it's just a very interesting, crazy world. There's always kind of this investigative plot line going on in each book, but it all ties to kind of a bigger arc in the entire series. So yeah, I just absolutely adore those books and I loved reading them, and I can't recommend enough for everybody to read Ilona Andrus if they like urban fantasy. And then Sword Heart, unfortunately, was a real disappointment for me, I guess because everybody was hyping it so much, and I just expected this kind of boom kind of thing that would happen for me, but unfortunately it didn't. I really didn't kind of mesh well with the main character. I felt like she was a bit contradictory in her kind of portrayal, in like what she did and what she was saying, and to a degree I understand that it was her trying to appear vulnerable and not smart and intelligent as a way to protect herself and kind of get by, but it just kind of it just really irked me, and I really didn't buy the romance between her and the male main character, so I didn't feel anything. And like, it's a fantasy romance, so there should be something, and it just felt nothing. And the most interesting thing about the whole book for me were the side characters, and like everything went like 3 notches up the moment the side characters came into the story. Before that, it was just like, nah. Oh, and right, the story is about Hala, who kind of wants to kill herself because her husband's relatives are trying to force her to marry one of them so they could get the inheritance that she got from their uncle, whom she took care of. So that's why he left her everything. So she tries to kill herself by impaling herself on a sword, and once as she pulls out the sword, Sarkis comes out because he has been trapped in the sword, sort of like a genie, but he doesn't grant wishes, and he becomes immediately her protector, and they kind of go on this, like, not even adventure, it's just a trip to get her situation resolved. So yeah, it was just like an okay book. I didn't mind it. I didn't really like adore it. So yeah, and then we go to the autumn equinox, which was like last month, and I had to read 5 books for that. So let's start with Inspiration, which was an end of the year TBR book. So for that, I read The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty. So this is the story of Amina, who used to be like this badass famous pirate who is retired. She has a daughter. She hasn't been on the scene for 10 years, and the mother of one of her former crewmates who has been killed while she was still a pirate comes and asks for her help because his daughter was kidnapped and she wants Amina to help find her. So Amina, as the captain of her ship, comes out of retirement, and she goes and picks up her crew, and they go on this journey to find their crewmate's daughter because he died in a certain way, which makes them kind of not really indebted to him, but you know, there's just like a lot of history there, so they go and help. So I wrote to Maya at one point, I'm really bored, because like there's a large section of this book in the beginning, which is basically pure setup. We just follow Amina as she's with her daughter, and then the mother of her crewmate comes, and then it's like with that, and then she goes and picks up her crewmates, and it's just it felt very long and overly like kind of, you know, prolonged, and just I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. And when they actually went on the adventure itself, like of finding the girl Dunya, it felt almost like it was jumping all over. Like I expected, like, you know, to hear the adventures and everything. Maybe I don't know, maybe I'm not just the person who likes to read about pirates and the sea. I don't know, it was an okay book. I think I would read the sequel, because the ending basically tells you that there's for sure going to be at least 3 or 4 more books, and I would try to see if, like, when there's no this kind of whole setup thing and the ending feels basically rushed, like this whole setup of the crew and the characters, which is cool because you get to know the characters, and her crewmates are really fun. You have Dalila, and you have who's a poisoner, and then you have like Baksh, who is a demon, and he is, I mean, I think he's basically the, you know, like the humorous character, you know, just to get some laughs, but he really does a good job. So like I think Shannon Chakraborty did a great job there. So yeah, I would read it because I basically loved Daeva, but I also found it very nice that there are some references to a character from the Daeva but trilogy at one point. And there's like, when you read the audiobook, because I both read it like physically and via audiobook at one point, and there are like some fun interjections because like this story is told by let's say a historian, a scribe, and he sometimes kind of interjects with some comments and stuff like that. So that was really fun, but it was just sporadic, and there's like 4 or 5 times that it does it, so it's not that it's such a big part of the book to make it, you know, like even like better. So yeah, I would give this like just an average score, like maybe a solid 3. Like, it wasn't bad, and it just maybe the plot didn't work for me, I guess. And I'm really sad because this was a gift, and look at me reading books actually from my shelf that have been gifted to me like 2 months before, like this. So way for me. But yeah, I'm really sad, but I will kind of continue in the series and see where it goes, because I really do like the author, so I just need to try. Then I have Spells and Incantations, where I had to get a qualified, so I needed to read 2 books. So I need to read a manga, comic, or graphic novel, and for that I read Spy Family by Tatsuya Endo. I read volumes 1 through 3 and 4. This was also a pick for my book club with Maya and her sister and one of her friends. This is basically the story of Twilight, who is a spy for, I think, the East. And he has to kind of form a fake family to get an assignment done. So he enlists an assassin as his wife, a telepath, a little girl that can read minds as his daughter, but he doesn't actually know that they do this or can do that. So it creates a lot of funny situations, and just basically the little girl is actually like the main character of this, because she's really funny, and she keeps she knows, she's the only one who knows actually what everybody is, but she's literally acting like a child, and she's like, oh cool, my dad's a spy, that's gonna be fun, and stuff like that. So that was really cute. I found it to be fun, like for like just fun, just like a palate cleanser between all the other things when you're reading. But I don't think you could read, I mean, it feels like it shouldn't be read like together at the same time, like all the volumes, because it begins to feel very repetitive, and every mission, like this is, I don't know, mission 1 through, I'm not sure, like 8, 9, like there's a lot of missions going on, and the missions aren't actually missions of the spy. It's more like, okay, getting a wife, that's mission number 1. Mission number 2 is getting the child. Mission number 3 is, I don't know, getting an apartment. Mission number 4 is getting, I don't know, the girl to pass an exam and stuff like that. So, and throughout the volumes, actually all the missions, they somehow have to do with their family rather than actually being like about the spies and the assassins. So, you know, I don't know, I have really mixed feelings about this. I'm gonna finish it because it reads real quickly, but yeah, that's one. And then I read a book that has a black or fire on the cover. This was black on the cover, and that is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. This is a book I've been dying to read for like a bazillion years since I read Horror Store. I just never got around to it. And for some reason, I read Grady Hendrix in the summer. That's like my thing, apparently. And this is the story of 2 best friends who go with 2 other friends like at like a summer house, and one of them gets lost for the entire evening, and she stumbles out like kind of naked and weird, and really weird things start happening to her, and her best friend believes that she is possessed by a demon or the devil, and she just tries like the whole book is her trying to kind of convince the adults that something is going on and something's not right, and to help her best friend. And there's just a lot of crazy situations that happen, and I just absolutely loved it. If you can believe it, I cried at the end, like the last chapter, where there's like this kind of, not homage to their friendship or something, but just like it just pulled all the right strings for me, because I have no brothers or sisters, so kind of like friends are my family, and just like their connection and their friendship, like I loved it. And just it was just like it's set in the 80s, and there were so many references to it. I mean, I didn't live in the 80s, but I just loved the era, and just like, and the shows and the movies, and I certainly skipped a lot of them, but the ones I got, they were so good. And I don't know, I just love, for now, every Grady Hendrix book that I've read, I absolutely adored, and I definitely plan to continue to read anything that he writes. So yeah, and I think you can even see here, like, yeah, I have the final support group here, so I'm definitely going to read that as well. And then I have Conjuration, which I also had to kind of get qualified, so I read 2 books. I'm hoping that meant 2 books. Okay, so first, I had to read a court or royal book, and that I read was The Empress of Salt and Fortune by Nivo. This was recommended to me by Antonia from Morina Kutia. I asked on Instagram for some recommendations. I have jotted down other recommendations that I got, but this was the shortest one that got in there, so I chose that. But I will be reading the other ones, I assure you. If anybody who suggested something is watching this, I noted down what you suggested. Unfortunately, I don't even know what to say about this book. This reminded me of Becky Chambers, the Monk and Robot duology that I reviewed recently. I'll put the link somewhere. Because it basically is the story of Chi, who meets this old woman, and she who was like something to the Empress, and she is basically retelling the Empress's and her own kind of life to Chi, and there's like, you know, thinking about the world and stuff like that, and I totally didn't vibe with it. I don't know if it was because I read it on audio, if just the characters didn't sit well with me, if the world, I couldn't even recall, like, I usually have like some kind of feeling about the book, you know, I'm either angry, I'm sad, I'm something, like there's a reaction to the book. And I had 0 reaction to this, and I am really sad, because like I hoped I would like it. So I don't know, I might try another one just to see if it was just like a fluke. Maybe I was kind of overwhelmed by the books that I read so far, so up to that point. So I don't know, it was too much. I really don't know, because I think it's one of the last things I read, so maybe it was just that. And I was like kind of rushing to finish this, but yeah, I was just like, meh. I don't even know. I think I maybe gave it 3 stars, but to be fair, I don't even know if I should have given any star to it, because I just have no feelings for it. I don't know. And okay, so the final book that I read is inspired, and that is a book inspired set in a different country called Country Than Yours, and that is River of Silver by Shannon Chakraborty. This is the kind of a collection of short stories from the Dayavava trilogy, which is one of my favorite trilogies of all times. So can you guess that I really like this one? I love this one. I absolutely adored it. It made me want to reread the entire trilogy, to go back to that world. I think it was really smartly done. The stories about the characters. I'm mostly about backstories of our characters that appear throughout the trilogy, and they're basically one of the main characters. So you, even if you haven't read it for some time, because I think it's been quite some time since the last book in the David trilogy and the publication, and I still remember everything. I still like the moment like she mentions like a character, oh yeah, that's that, oh yeah, that happened. There's also in the beginning you get like a note as to when the story actually happens compared to the kind of timeline in the books themselves, which is great because you can kind of put them in order. And I really want to revisit the books and read the stories like in the timeline that it should be set in. And I loved it. It was just such a great, it felt like coming back to an old friend and just finding out that you like the connection's still there. So you know, there's like stories kind of predating the first book, where you get to find out more about the Daevas and the Ifrits and stuff like that. And then you have like inside, like in the timeline of the trilogy, like different kind of snapshots of things that maybe are not crucial to the story but are fun. You know, like for example, the first meeting of Jamshid and oh god, what's his name? I forgot. Oh my god, I'm not good with names today. But anyways, like the prince and his lover, and that was like genius. So yeah, what can I say? I love this. And yeah, okay, that's it. That's my Orilium story. I wanted to do the demonology prompt, however I didn't, but I count this as such a major success that I read all of these, that I'm so proud of myself. And yeah, and I will be continuing to do Orilium because I just find it very fun to kind of just have this school-like structure for 2 months. And I'm hoping next year will be better in terms of like me having time to read and just kind of do more prompts and stuff like that. That would really make me happy. So yeah, that's it. I think Maya's wrap-up is gonna come up next, so stay tuned for that. I think she's gonna also have a lot of, I think she's gonna have a lot of books to talk to you about, so check that out when it comes out. So yes, that is it. Please like, share, subscribe, press the bell button if you want to get notifications whenever I post new videos. There are some links for you down in the description box. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in our next video. Bye!